Hey, Sean here from SpeedCubeReview.com. I am going to do a video unboxing a new Rubik's Cube, and whenever I do something with the Rubik's brand, I always get people in this video who are not normal subscribers. So first off, subscribe, like, do all that stuff. But also, I'm going to talk about the history of how we got to where we are today, and just the evolution of the puzzles in the past decade, because it's really changed a lot. I'll have timestamps if you just want to jump to me solving the puzzle or something like that. So first off, I got into cubing, specifically speed solving, about 10 years ago, and this was a cube that I got at the store with new stickers added. Now, I don't know why I didn't solve this beforehand, and that's going to bug me if I don't, so I'm going to do that first, and then we'll continue. Okay, and these stickers were from CubeSmith, which they're not in business anymore. This is how the pieces were for years. There might have been slight tweaks here or there, but this is basically the design. And back in the day, people had to sand pieces to make them perform differently and things like that. Pretty soon after I got this, they came out with a newer model that had tiles, so you could not peel off stickers. And this thing was near impossible to take apart. You could do it at risk of breaking pieces. It was really, really secure. And honestly, a great change. It could corner cut a bit, but not a lot. And around the same time, they came out with a SpeedCube version, because there are notches there. Very similar design, but you could adjust the tension of the springs and change that a bit. Since then, they've tweaked it a little bit more or less. So the next big change was around, I think this was 2019, and they partnered up with GAN and made the GAN Rubik's SpeedCube. And this was never released in stores, and it was basically a GAN 356 with some alterations. It's a bit too tight for me to take apart. Yeah, I'll leave it for now. But you could alter it with the springs. You just pop the cap off and do that. And that's that old system that they used to use. But this was basically a modified 356 from GAN, and it worked really well. They never released this version in local stores that I could find, but this one performed quite well. And there's been little tweaks here and there since the release. This is the more recent design. The company, the distributor, has been changed from, I think it was 7 Towns to Spin Master, which, funny enough, Spin Master didn't do Rubik's Cubes, and I think it's perfect for that. And this, you can see, has much more of the curves in the pieces. Corner cutting is a bit better. And the pieces are, I would say, oh geez, all these are really tight, SpeedCube shaped. Like that looks like a modern SpeedCube. So I don't know who is designing these now, because this doesn't seem like a GAN design, but this is what's in the stores. I've always been a fairly strong Rubik's defender for what their products are and what they're used for, because these are all really nice products. This one, even if we go back to this, they're quality products. And the newest one does have, I think this one has magnets in it. They don't all do if you get them in the store. And that's not the case across the board, where I know a lot of people really bash it. The same day I made a video talking about, I think it was this puzzle, another creator came out with one talking about why Rubik's Cubes are just the worst and they're not good. And they said it's mainly magnets, which is completely false. So that's unfortunate that people think that that's the reason. But the reason I'm defending it a lot is because they serve its purpose. They work really well as really sturdy puzzles that have a really good look, and I would say get people excited about cubing. It's not really that bad of turning out of the box, this one. Even this, you can tell, works fairly well. I didn't do any sanding to this one, although it was lubricated. A quick analogy, I play violin professionally. And if you ever played violin or viola now, but also especially in the 90s and early 2000s, you likely used or saw a glasser bow. Actually, I've got one right here, literally next to me on this desk. This is a glasser bow. It's got plastic there and it's fiberglass. And no professional was going, oh, why don't they make top tier bows? That's not the purpose. Their purpose is to make durable bows that work fairly well that are, you know, not super expensive. Now, since then, the patent went away and other people have made similar bows, but that's the point that I'm trying to make. There is a purpose to this product. It's not to compete. And honestly, if I was in charge of the product for Rubik's, I probably wouldn't even try to compete in the speedcubing world because things keep changing constantly but aren't really going much anywhere. It's just whoever's in the current conversation. One last thing, Rubik's does interesting things too. I recently did a video on their squishy cube. They have one with different textures on it. They have one that changes colors, one that goes from light to dark, or I guess like black, and the colors reveal when you warm the puzzle up. They do some really interesting things that other companies just don't. So that's fantastic. Now, I saw this online. Apparently it's only at Target. I ordered it, I bought it, and it is the official Rubik's Speed. Anything here, they've got download the game Rubik's Match. I'll have to check that out. They have magnets in it. Anything else? Screws right there. Okay, that looks like mainly it. Let's open this up. First thing, just looking at these pieces, doing some turns, this is a SpeedCube. This is something that you could compete in a competition with and, without a doubt, place in it. Without a doubt, be the fastest solver in the world using this puzzle. Looking at it just for a second, I can tell it is a Swift block. What Swift block is, if you don't know, is a offshoot or just sub-brand of the company GAN. They had their puzzles, they got more and more expensive to the point where a single puzzle was around $80. And then they had a cheaper brand called Monster Go, and that was okay. But then they came out with Swift block. And when I first got Swift block, I said that I feel like this is better than their regular GAN cube for the feeling. It feels really, really, really nice. Now, looking at this, the reason I say it is, I'll just show you the main piece that is obviously the sign for it. It's that. You can just, they're identical. There's no difference in that. Those little capsules are magnets. A lot of times people just put them under the plastic. I don't know if that's easier to produce or they just produce it like that because it looks cool. Colors compared to this Swift block, white actually seems more white, maybe because I've just used this. Green seems a little bit lighter. Yellow is not as bright, so yellow is not really as fluorescent, it's more of a darker yellow. A lighter blue compared to that blue. A lighter red, and a more pale orange. I think I like this orange better. I like this green. Ooh, I don't know which yellow I like more. I'm not sure about the plastic difference. They both feel like matte plastic, but after you use matte plastic for a little bit, it does get a little bit more glossy. See if the tension systems are any different. They are the exact same. So you have this blue one that adjusts the spring compression, and then you have the screw that tightens or loosens it, which a lot of people call the center travel, the center distance. Basically, how much can that centerpiece move at all. I am going to now do some solves as it is, and then I'm going to lubricate it and tension it. I like the tension right now, it's a little bit tighter. Let me know, actually, before I go any further, let me know what colors you prefer, and I probably will swap some things out and see if I can just swap them. So here's the Rubik's one versus Swift block. I really actually like this yellow. This yellow is really nice to look at. The orange just feels a little bit light next to it. Like I feel like that orange next to that yellow would be maybe a little bit better. Okay, let's talk about, while I am tightening the tensions a bit, the blue part, how we feel about repackaged puzzles. And what I mean by that is that a puzzle that pretty much already exists that's just put in a new box. So I used to be very much against it. I used to really hate that idea because when I first saw that, it was on Amazon and people were buying bulk puzzles like a Guanlong, which was from YJ, for maybe $1 per puzzle, and then boxing them and reselling them for like $10 or $15. And they were ripping people off. There are a couple times one could argue that, well, they made it look nice and more approachable, but then you would just find like companies that were just random letters for the company name selling them, and it was just ripping people off. Now this one I got, I think it was around 15, and the Swift block is around $15, give or take depending on where you buy it from and things like that. So if this is sold in stores, which it is at Target, if it's sold other places as well, that'd be great. I think this is perfectly fine. Maybe I should try a Rusolve. Okay, oh, one thing too, the puzzle is just a little bit smaller than the regular Rubik's brand. Rubik's brand is about 57 millimeters, and this is about 55, which doesn't sound like a lot, but when you're actually solving it, it's a pretty substantial difference there. As far as the puzzle goes, it's fantastic. Will I think people who solve GAN puzzles specifically are going to switch to this? No, mainly because I like it because it gives me that old school feeling. The pieces are a little bit more heavier. It's not a heavy puzzle, but there's definitely a little bit more weight on the outside. It's not super light, and it just feels really nice in the hands for about the size that I like. I don't like the larger puzzles. I'm happy with this. If you are getting into cubing and you get one like this and you want something a little bit nicer, but you don't know what store to go to. Now, I'm sponsored by SpeedCube Shop, so I'll, promote that. But go to Target and get this. It's definitely not overpriced, performs exceptionally well. I think it should come with maybe a screwdriver. If you're gonna get any lubrication, if you're getting something local, get something that's 100% silicone oil like Traxxas. But other than that, I am all for this. So great job, Rubik's. Keep it up, keep doing some fun stuff, and yeah, definitely not upset by this. Thank you very much for watching. Please hit like and subscribe for more content like this in the future. And as always, keep following SpeedCube Review for more news and reviews.